It's finished Cheadle Heath Nomads 0, Altrincham 3 second half goals, 2 from Regan Linney, 1 from the penalty spot, 1 from Matty Coslow. Phil Parkinson, Altrincham manager, joins us. Phil, what would you say were the highlights of tonight's game?
Not getting any injuries, first and foremost. I think that's got to be your main highlight of any pre-season friendly. And then next, 45 minutes in all the players' legs, so that's 90 over the 2 games for those who've participated. Having another look at the trialists again, that was imperative these last couple of games, and they're really giving us something to think about, 1 or 2 of them. So yeah, all round, really pleased with the outing.
In terms of trialists, we'll get into the stage now of pre-season where you'll be making some decisions very, very shortly, I guess.
No, not necessarily. As I said, they've done well, but I think we've got to absolutely get some decisions right, and I am one for making quick decisions, but there's a couple of slots that we need covering, and we've got to get it right. So I've been pleased with what I've seen so far, but the calibre of opposition is going to be completely different when we play in the National League. So when we're playing the next couple of games, I'll get a better insight from those players.
The new signings have shown up well. Particularly, I thought Joe Nuttall got around the pitch in the first half, and Tom Crawford looks a player.
Yeah, Tom's got that quality. You could see with some of the balls that he was playing through, for Regan in particular, they're already getting them combinations on point, which is great to see at this point. But again, they've got a lot more time and space than what they're going to have on Saturday, Tuesday, the next couple of games. So I think that will bring even more out of a player like Tom. And just touching on Joe, because you highlighted him, yeah, we've been really pleased with his work rate. His attitude to training's been on point, and he's been superb around the other players as well. So as long as that continues, I think he'll do really well here.
In the first half, Owen German probably saw as much of the ball as anybody and certainly got around the pitch. He's a really busy player.
Yeah, Owen's a really industrious player, and I think Owen's next stage is that National League loan or a top NPL loan where he's playing every week, and you can see he's more than capable. It's just choosing the right club for him or the right time for Owen to go and take that next step. But who knows, if he keeps going the way he is in pre-season, it might be where he doesn't go out. But there's a plan for Owen, there's a plan for Joe Bailey, Lucas Weaver, those types of players, and we've got to be careful that we get it right with them.
In terms of pre-season games, how far would you expect a player to run or move around the pitch compared to a National League game? I guess it's different.
Yeah, it's really hard to judge because we've had all the ball today, haven't we? So your movement's probably not going to be as great as when you're chasing after the ball or you're in transitions a lot. There were lots and lots of counter-attacks on our part because we've always got the ball, which you should have against Cheadle. The only distance you're probably going to be covering is if you turn it over and you've got to get back very quickly. But we were recovering the ball quickly as well. So really difficult to judge. But what we've got an excellent SNC coach, had a performance in Matt Fox, so he's tracked all the distances, and not just the distance, they cover the high speed runs as well. I don't know if you noticed before, the lads were coming on the pitch, the lads who finished the first half were topping up the runs, really specific with the distances and intensity of the runs, and the lads who come on in the second half covered the distance required. That's why you didn't see them doing it at the end with the warm up before coming on, and then what they did in the game. So everything's measured as much as you can, and as much as I do massively believe in sports science, statistics, data, I think your eye's a pretty true indicator of how hard the lads have worked, and we like an honest set of players here. So as I said, the last 3 games, maybe not so much Combe because it wasn't predominantly first team players, it was trialists, but definitely Lancaster in here. Really pleased with the work ethic of the players so far.
It's a slightly unusual pre-season game. Cheadle Heath Nomads, we've obviously got a connection with Paul Fay being the manager, and with Paul not being around, Danny Jarrett was in the opposite dugout today. Yeah,
it's worked brilliantly, to be fair. Having Paul, he's got aspirations of his own in his own right to go and be a football manager, not just an academy manager. So he's dipped his toe in here, and it's worked perfectly with player pathways, but it's worked for him as well because we've got a quality of player that are really going to help Cheadle Nomads. So it's a two-way street. and hopefully that can help Cheadle propel themselves up the divisions and help us develop players as well. So it's got to be hand in hand, it's got to work for both parties, and I'm sure at some point there'll be a conflict of interest, but at the moment it's working great. And like I said, that's the only reason we're here today, is because of Paul. If Paul's not here, we don't come and give Cheadle a friendly, because it is probably a little bit lower in terms of level than what we would normally come in at, even at this point. So the Lucas Weaver one was the Cone one, and obviously Paul's relationship with us, we always want to give back what people give to us, so it was right that we come and give them this friendly today.
And things will step up now over the next week or so. Warrington Town, National League North on Saturday, and then the first home game at the J Davidson Stadium against Salford City next Tuesday.
Yep, and I'm hoping that you see an improvement in quality and intensity, because they're going to have to. I watched Warrington against Nantwich as it was on my doorstep last week, and they look right at it. They look probably a little bit ahead of us in terms of fitness and intensity, because as I said, we've got a set programme of how we work, and we gradually get there. We don't kill our lads in the opening couple of weeks. We're going to have a small squad. We did it last season. We've got to be really careful with how we get our players up to speed. But the most important thing will be, and you hear all managers say it, don't you, on all pre-season interviews, it won't be what we do now, it's what we do when we play Woking on the opening day. So we've had a tweak with the system, which I'm sure people will have picked up on with Chris leaving. We've gone a slightly different way. So that's going to take a little bit of time to get used to. It's not a big thing, but a little adjustment like that in terms of in training, people understand their roles, how we're going to press, all the principles that we expect in and out of possession being put into place. It just takes a little bit of time, and that's what you got during pre-season. But I'm like everyone else, I want to see us win while we're doing it. So you can't take that little bit away. You've always got to have one eye on that. You don't want it to be too easy. It's got to have a certain element of intensity and competitiveness. And like I said, I've been quite happy with what I've seen so far.
And how much are you expecting more acquisitions before the start of the season?
Obviously, we need a keeper to come in. I don't know if that's going to be done sooner rather than later. And we obviously will need cover at fullback. That's why you're seeing the players that we've got in at the moment, and why I'm going to take my time on choosing the right one. I think we've got a real strong squad. We're not going to have the biggest squad. I've gone on record a number of times saying the club have supported massively, but we haven't got an embarrassment of riches, so we have to live within our means. That's why I think everyone was expecting us to go big when Chris went. All that money's gone back into the club, and rightly so, because it's a full-time club, and there's lots of things that need doing that we needed that money for that people forget about. But I'm certainly delighted with the strength of the squad, and as long as we don't get too many injuries, or we can shake off this little bit of bad luck we've had over the last couple of years with ACLs, PCLs, LCL, I know every kind of knee cruciate injury known to man now, because we've sort of gone through it. We surely touch wood of seeing the back of that, and I think we've got a really robust squad, so that's why we've got to be careful with them in terms of gradually improving them. But we've got a real good team, real good squad, and we'll be confident going into the new season.
It's an interesting time for acquisition of players for managers, because there's lots of players who are sorted out, but there's still lots of players who will be waiting on deals and are still out there. And usually in the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to the season, you see a fair amount of transfer activity. You
do, but like I said, I'm not expecting us to do anything apart from a cover player at fullback and another keeper. So I feel I've got to be completely transparent on that and sort of curb people's expectations of seeing a Paul Mullin walk in the building or something like that. So we're really confident in what we've got, and you've got to remember, Ollie Crankshaw and Isaac Marriott will be hopefully back in the fold around September time. And listen, we'll have to build them up as well, but they'll be like signing new players at that point. So we need to be a little bit patient with it. We need to remember, as I said, we're not a Chesterfield, a Notts County, a Wrexham, we're Altrincham, we're a building club, we're a well-run club, and the people above me will make sure that we stick to our finances and show financial discipline at every corner. And finally, Phil, I watched an interview with the Barnet manager, Dean Brennan, last night, and he was talking about the strength of the league, and he picked out Altrincham as one of the teams that he expected to do very, very well again. He felt that our recruitment had been good this summer. Yeah, well, we might not have gone out, as I said, joked a little bit about the Paul Mullin type of signing, but we've signed another top proven National League Football League player in Tom Crawford. Joe Nuttall was playing in League One last year, so it's not like we've not brought in anyone, but we certainly, as I said, don't have that embarrassment of riches where we can just get whoever we want, no matter how much we've brought in the other way. We've got to be careful what we're doing. And we will, and we'll stick to the plan on the pitch, off the pitch, to keep us moving forward.